America. And here in the West, we're joined by Art Hernandez, a data tech in Tempe, Arizona, Steve Hamilton, a documentary film producer in Santa Clara, California, and Sheila Chung Hagan, who works for the Public Utilities Commission of San Francisco. Sheila, let's start with you.
Happy Lunar New Year, Mr. President.
Thank you so much.
You've called 2014 a year of action where you'll work with Congress when it's possible, and you'll use your executive authority when Congress fails to take action. You've asked Congress to pass a comprehensive immigration reform with a clear path to citizenship, and yet legislators continue at an impasse. You have used your executive authority in the past to help the Dreamers, young people who were brought to this country as children. And so I'm wondering, will you now use your executive authority to halt deportations, which have been ripping families apart, until Congress passes a comprehensive immigration reform?
Well, Sheila, it's great to talk to you, and thanks for the question. I think this is one area where I am modestly optimistic about Congress acting this year. And part of that optimism is that it's so obviously the right thing to do. Comprehensive immigration reform has gained support from all walks of American life. You have law enforcement, you have clergy member, including evangelicals that are traditionally strong supporters of the Republican Party. You've obviously got immigration activists and communities, but you also have businesses who recognize that this would be terrifically important for economic growth, short-term and long-term, would actually cut our deficits by $1 trillion. So the arguments are compelling. We saw a bipartisan bill pass through the Senate last year, and Speaker Boehner announced a couple of, actually yesterday, that he has principles for immigration reform that are moving in the direction of the principles that I had laid out from the time that I first ran for this office. There are still some differences, and obviously the devil is in the details. But it is my firm belief that we can get immigration reform done this year. And I don't want to presuppose that we can't. Obviously, if at some point we see that it's not getting done, I'm going to look at all options to make sure that we have a rational, smart system of immigration. But I'm going to do everything I can in these coming months to see if we can get this over the finish line, and I think we actually can get it done. One last point I want to make, and that is that in any scenario, we're going to have stronger border security. In any scenario, we're going to improve the legal immigration system so that families can be unified faster, that you don't have this massive bureaucracy, these backlogs, where folks may wait for decades to be reunited. In any scenario, we're going to be making sure that employers aren't taking advantage of undocumented workers, and that we can enforce that. I believe in any scenario we should also make sure that at the end of the day, people are able to become citizens, because we don't want a situation in which we've got two categories of people in this country, folks who are full-fledged citizens and folks who are not. This is something where there's going to be some differences between the Senate approach, which does have a clear path to citizenship, and what we've seen so far out of the House Republicans. But the point I made yesterday is that I want to engage. I don't want to prejudge and presuppose that we can't close some of those gaps. I'm going to keep on fighting as hard as I can and remain, as I said, modestly optimistic. You can never be completely optimistic when you're talking about Washington because we have some history of stuff not getting done in this town as opposed to getting done. But I'm going to be pushing very hard in the next few months to see if we can get this over the finish line.
Well, let's go to Steve.